Of all the kingdoms shattered by the Andal invasion, one realm refused to kneel longer than any other, the Stormlands, ruled by the ancient line of the Durrandon kings. Their blood was said to descend from Durin Godsgrief, the legendary king who defied the sea and built Storm's End. His descendants inherited his defiance, and none would prove this more fiercely than the Storm Kings who faced the Andals. The Andals had already conquered the Vale, swept through the Riverlands, and carved their faith into the Reach. Their knights rode steel-clad war horses. Their priests wielded the seven-pointed star like a weapon, and their armies spread southward with unstoppable force. But when they reached the Stormlands, the Rains themselves seemed to warn them. This land will not break easily. The early battles were brutal. Bands of Andals landed on the eastern shores, their longships slicing through the narrow bays like steel knives. They burned villages, raised wooden seps, and challenged the first men to yield. But the Storm Kings met them with thunder in their hearts. King Durrandon, remembered in the songs as Durin the Bold, was the first to face them. He gathered bannermen from House Cairn, Swan, Wild, and Tarth, forming an army that fought with the fury of the storm itself. On the fields of Bronzegate, Durin led a charge that broke the Andal shield wall, scattering the invaders back into the sea. But the Andals did not sail home. They returned with more men, more priests, more steel. The war turned into a cycle of blood. The Andals would land in new waves, build footholds, and push inland, and the Durrandons would crush them, sometimes in open battle, sometimes in ambushes among the rain-soaked woods. The greatest of all Storm Kings was Argilac Durrandon, remembered as Argilac the Arrogant. He was the last of his line, a warrior whose pride was matched only by his skill in battle. Argilac had no patience for diplomacy or retreat. When Andals attempted to claim land along the Rainwood coast, he rode against them himself. In the Battle of Fellwood, Argilac cut down an entire line of Andal knights, his sword flashing through storm and mud. The singers say he killed 7 men in 7 heartbeats, earning the grudging respect of even the invaders. In the north of the Stormlands, House Mertens and House Connington fought ceaselessly to keep the Andals from crossing the Kingswood. In the south, the island warriors of Tarth held the Sapphire Isle against wave after wave of knights carrying the 7-pointed star. Some Andals bent the knee to the Storm Kings, choosing honor over destruction, but many more died on the end of Stormlander spears. Yet the tide could not be held back forever. The Andals outnumbered the first men 10-1. Their steel was harder, their cavalry faster, their priests relentless. They burned weirwoods wherever they found them, replacing the old gods with the 7. For each Andal ship destroyed, 3 more arrived. Gradually, the Storm Kings were pushed inward, losing ground not through defeat, but through attrition. When Argilac the Arrogant realized he could not hold them forever, he sought an ally across the narrow sea, a rising power on the island fortress of Dragonstone. And the man he reached out to was Aegon Targaryen. But Argilac did not know he was writing the first lines of a new chapter in history, a chapter that would end the age of Storm Kings, Andal invaders and First Men rulers alike, for the ally he called upon was already planning a conquest not just of the Stormlands, but of all Westeros. The Storm Kings had held out longer than any southern First Men kingdom. They had fought the Andals to a standstill for generations. They had become the last line of defense for a culture disappearing under the weight of steel and faith. But the storm was breaking, and a new storm, one born of fire, not rain, was approaching from Dragonstone.